Welcome back to another episode of the AM Edit podcast, the cozy corner where we peel back the layers and talk about the real stuff. You know, the quiet, soul-deep things that don't always come up in day-to-day conversations, but live in us all the time. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're listening on a walk, folding laundry, or just laying in bed staring at the ceiling, this space is for you. Today we're diving into a question that's been whispering around my mind lately. The question is, what actually motivates people to improve themselves? And not just in that hustle culture. Make a vision board and optimize your life kind of way. I mean that real, lived, in-the-bones kind of transformation. The kind that happens when you can't go back to who you were, but you're still figuring out who you're becoming. Maybe you're in that space right now, that tender in-between. If so, I just want to say, you're not alone. We're in this conversation together. And I'm going to share some of my own reflections, some truths I've picked up from people I deeply respect, and sprinkle in questions you can carry with you, ones that might open up something new in you. So, get comfortable. Or maybe let this episode keep you company while you move through your day. Either way, this is your moment to pause and be with yourself. Let's get into it. So, let's sink into this. What really motivates someone to want to grow? To become better, softer, stronger, wiser, freer? Let's be honest. Most of us don't wake up one random Tuesday and say, "Today, I shall improve myself." It's not that clean. It's usually messy, right? A moment hits, or builds up slowly, where something inside says, "This can't be it." That subtle discontent, that ache. It's actually a holy thing. It's often the first sign that change is on the way. For some of us, motivation starts with pain. Let's name it. A breakup that leaves you cracked wide open. A job that drains you, leaving you questioning your worth. A health scare, a betrayal, a moment of just total burnout. It's the kind of pain that forces you to sit in silence and say, "I can't go back to how things were." Have you ever had that moment? That sharp, clear knowing that something has to change, even if you're not sure how yet? And you know what? That's not weakness. That's the beginning of wisdom. Because the pain, it's a message, a call to pay attention. But then there's this other kind of motivation, a quieter one. It's longing. You see someone living a life that feels true, not flashy, but full, aligned. Maybe they speak up for themselves in a way you're still learning. Maybe they radiate peace. Or maybe they're doing something you once dreamed of but tucked away because life got loud. That glimpse, that flash of, "Could I?" That's motivation too. Sometimes what moves us isn't what's broken, but what's possible. So let's keep going. Because this isn't just about motivation, it's about the moment before it. That quiet space, the in-between breath. That subtle shift when something in you starts to say, "I'm not sure this version of me fits anymore." That feeling, that's sacred. And it's where self-improvement really begins. Sometimes it starts not with fire, but with friction. Like a job that no longer lights you up, even though it once did. Or a friendship where the conversation used to flow. But now it's filled with long pauses and shallow laughs. Or maybe it's your own reflection. The way you catch yourself in the mirror and think, "I know there's more to me than this." Can I be honest? I've had those moments. Not just one or two, seasons of them. Where I felt like I was doing everything right. Checking the boxes, being responsible, keeping the peace. And yet, I'd lie in bed with this low hum of restlessness in my chest. It wasn't that I hated my life. It was that I knew I wasn't living all the way into it. That kind of tension, that quiet discomfort, it's a gift. Not because it feels good, but because it wakes you up. It whispers, there's more. Not more to do, more to feel, more to become. Sometimes self-improvement looks like learning a new skill, starting therapy, signing up for a workshop, or launching a business. But sometimes it looks like crying in the car and letting yourself cry. It looks like admitting, I'm not okay right now, instead of pushing through. It looks like choosing not to go back to the version of you who tolerated things just to be liked. That's the work too. And here's something I want to name, especially for the women listening who are used to being the strong one. Self-improvement doesn't mean becoming more productive or palatable. It means becoming more you, the most honest, free, unedited version of you. And yes, she might be messier, louder, softer, braver, but she's whole, and she's worth the effort. Let me share something else I've learned. The motivation you're looking for doesn't always show up in inspiration. Sometimes it shows up in grief. Grieving the life you thought you'd have by now. Grieving the version of you who never got to be fully seen. Grieving what was never safe to want, or ask for, or expect. That grief, that's not weakness. That's the release that makes room for newness. Real transformation often begins in the ashes. So let me ask you, what are you holding on to that's actually holding you back? What belief about yourself or your worth do you need to let go of, even if it's scary? Take your time with those. Maybe pause here, or come back to them later. You don't have to answer perfectly. You just have to be honest. And you know what else? Sometimes we're not motivated because we're not connected to our bodies, to our desires, to our truth. When was the last time you asked yourself, what do I need right now? Not what should I do? Not what do they need from me? But what do I need? Go deeper. Ask, what kind of care feels nourishing to me? What kind of boundaries feel safe to me? What kind of love feels honest to me? Because the truth is, when we are disconnected from our needs, we can't stay connected to our motivation. They're intertwined. Motivation without self-trust becomes performance. But motivation rooted in self-awareness, that's power. That's clarity. That's sustainable. Okay, one more thing, and this one's tender. Sometimes the desire to improve yourself can come from a belief that you're not good enough as you are. Let's reframe that right now. You are not growing because you're broken. You are growing because you're alive. Growth is not punishment, it's permission. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to become more. Not because who you are today isn't enough, but because you're allowed to keep evolving. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are not behind. You are in progress. And if no one has told you this lately, let me say it gently but firmly. You are already worthy, even on the days you feel stuck. Whew, we went there, didn't we? Thank you for sitting in this with me. I know this wasn't a checklist episode. This was more like a mirror. And maybe, just maybe, something stirred in you. If you're feeling that gentle nudge, like something inside is asking for change, asking for more, honor that. You don't have to figure it all out today. You just need to listen, to pay attention. That's where the real self-improvement begins. I'd love to hear from you. What's motivating you right now? What's pulling you forward, or quietly inviting you inward? Come tell me in the comments. I read everything, and I hold your words with care. If this episode spoke to you, send it to someone else who's in the thick of their own transformation. Let it remind them they're not alone. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe or follow wherever you're listening. so we can keep having these real, deep conversations together. This is Kristen. Until next time, be kind to yourself, hold space for your becoming, and remember, you don't need to be fully healed to be worthy of growth. You just need to be willing, and you already are. Talk soon. Bye.